Back in 2003, Undertaker was already a walking nightmare in WWE, but what happened next took things to a whole new level of insanity. During a Savage match in 1998, Kane completely knocked out Taker, and on top of that, he even sealed him inside the casket and set the entire thing on fire with him still inside. For 7 long months, there was no sign of Taker being alive. WWE acted like he never existed, but as fans started accepting that their legend was really gone, something unexpected happened. At WrestleMania 20, when Kane was ready to fight, all of a sudden the lights went off and Undertaker rose from the ground to reclaim his legacy. Did you know that John Cena once betrayed his best friend on live TV? In 2011, Zack Ryder was just another struggling wrestler in the locker room, but everything changed when John Cena decided to take him under his wings. For months, Cena publicly supported Zack, appeared with him on Monday Night Raw, and even fought alongside him against the Big Red Machine who was terrorizing him at the time. But when for the first time, Eve Torres appeared in the ring, everything turned to chaos. To everyone's surprise, Eve started flirting with both Cena and Zack, playing mind games with them to destroy their friendship forever. But the breaking point came when Kane put Ryder in the hospital thanks to his vicious attack, leaving him completely vulnerable in a wheelchair. And that's when everything went terribly wrong. At first, Kane kidnapped Eve and tried to drive away with her in an ambulance, but all of a sudden Cena appeared to save her. But unfortunately, even that wasn't enough to beat the Big Red Machine. When John thought it was all over, all of a sudden Eve jumped out straight into Cena's arms to did something no one expected. Instead of being grateful from a distance, she kissed him right in front of Zack. Did you know that a 10-year-old kid once became WWE Tag Team Champion? Before WrestleMania 34, Braun Strowman entered a battle royal to face Sheamus and Cesaro for Tag Team Championship. But to everyone's surprise, he didn't have any partner. With no other choice, Braun grabbed a mic and made a shocking announcement.
Who wants to be my WrestleMania tag partner?
Right after those words, the entire stadium went nuts, erupting as Braun walked straight into the crowd and pointed to a 10-year-old kid named Nicholas to be his tag team partner. The whole arena went absolutely crazy as this little boy stepped into the ring to face 2 of WWE's most dangerous superstars. Braun fought most of the match alone, but in a moment, no one could believe that he tagged in Nicholas. The crowd froze for a second as they didn't know what just happened, but as Cesaro stepped forward to confront the kid, Nicholas quickly tagged Braun back. And right after that, Braun knocked Cesaro out with his devastating power slam. Did you know that Kurt Angle once went completely bald on live TV? It all started back in 2002 when Kane, during a match with Kurt, almost destroyed him with a devastating power slam. But to everyone's surprise, Kurt countered it and pulled off a victory that left Kane absolutely livid. And right after that, his rivalry with Edge blew up, especially when he started interfering in Edge's matches, and Edge wasn't happy with that. So at Backlash 2002, Kurt barely pulled a victory, but Edge wasn't finished. At that event, he shocked everyone by revealing a shirt that said "You suck," leaving Kurt completely humiliated. Furious Kurt instantly challenged Edge to a hair versus hair match at Judgment Day, thinking there was no way he could lose. But what Kurt didn't know was that Vince McMahon had already sealed his fate, telling him he'd be going bald anyway. Kurt dominated most of the match, but then Edge shocked everyone by delivering him a sneaky pin. And that's when the real humiliation began. At first, Edge put Kurt in a sleeper hold, dragged him on a barber seat, and shaved him right in front of millions. This wrestler thought messing with his father was a joke, until reality proved him terribly wrong. On Christmas Eve 2022, Dom and Rhea decided to surprise Ray by visiting him at home on the holiday. The moment Dom's grandpa opened the door, everything turned to chaos. As soon as Ray saw him, he rushed straight to him and asked him to leave, still remembering exactly what happened on Thanksgiving Day. Instead of backing down, Dom pushed his father's limits by daring him to hit him. But when Ray refused to do that, Dom did it for him. And that's when Ray's wife stepped in to slap Dom, only for Rhea to block her. But to everyone's surprise, she slipped past and landed a vicious slap. Seconds later, the police arrived and began asking what just happened. Dominic immediately claimed that his mother had slapped Rhea and that she should be arrested. However, another officer spoke with Ray and his wife, and they explained that Dom and Rhea had shown up uninvited. Once the officer understood the full story, he told his partner that Dom's going with them. When Mommy realized what just happened, she furiously started screaming at the police that they were making a huge mistake and they should arrest Ray's wife instead. On Monday Night Raw 2010, WWE handed control to the fans, letting them choose who John Cena would face next. And to everyone's surprise, they picked CM Punk, who at the time was still wearing a black mask. Halfway through the match, the Nexus stormed into the ring and surrounded John Cena like a pack of wolves. And the moment Barrett gave the signal to attack, everything turned to chaos. At first, Wade knocked out the referee and threw him out of the ring. And right after that, all 8 members started circling Cena. When John charged at one of them, the other 7 rushed straight at him, beating him down with such brutality that even the crowd went silent. In 2024, Dominic Mysterio made one of the biggest mistakes by turning his back on Rhea, thinking he could walk away without any consequences. For months, Dominic Dominic thought he was invincible with Liv by his side, acting like his time with Rhea didn't matter. But everything changed when Rhea finally got her hands on Liv in a match that would settle everything once and for all. As soon as that bell rang, Rhea unleashed years of fury on Liv, delivering a punishment so hard that even Dominic could barely watch from ringside. And when everyone thought it was all over, something unexpected happened. In the middle of the match, terrified Dominic made a nerve-wracking approach to Rhea and asked for a hug, but Mommy wasn't buying it and gave him the beatdown he deserved. Back in 1997, for the first time, Kane stepped into the ring as a 7-foot-tall monster wearing a terrifying mask. For 6 long years, fans genuinely believed they were looking at a real-life monster whose face was too horrific to show. But one day, everything changed when Triple H forced Kane to remove his mask right in front of millions. When that mask finally came off, fans expected to see a terrifying monster, but instead, they saw the biggest disappointment in WWE history. At SummerSlam 2007, beef between John and Randy was already at a nuclear level, but when everyone thought it couldn't be worse, something unexpected happened. Right in the middle of a match between Booker, Randy suddenly jumped out of nowhere, and instead of facing Cena one-on-one like a man, he teamed up with Booker to beat him down without mercy. And on top of that, Randy charged straight to the ringside, grabbed Cena's father from the crowd, and knocked him out with a vicious kick. The second Cena saw it, he instantly rushed straight to the ringside to help his dad, making one thing clear: someone's gonna pay for all that. And a few days later, during Randy's match with Kofi Kingston, Cena rushed straight to the ring, and with Kofi's help, he delivered a life lesson he'll never forget. For over a decade, Hulk Hogan was more than just a wrestler. Children looked up to him, adults respected him, and everyone believed that the man who told them to say their prayers and eat their vitamins would never let them down. But on July 7th, 1996, everything changed. That day, 2 former WWE superstars, also known as the Outsiders, had invaded WCW, claiming they were there to destroy the company. For months, they were saying that they have a mysterious third man who would help them in their process. Fans genuinely started losing their minds trying to figure out who this traitor would be, until one day, during the main event, Hogan made his way to the ring. But to everyone's surprise, Hogan did something no one expected. Instead of fighting the Outsiders, Hogan officially revealed that he was that mysterious third man. The crowd went absolutely crazy as fans literally started throwing trash at the man who just destroyed their childhood. That moment didn't just create a new world order, it proved once again that even the biggest heroes can turn around at any time. After disappearing for 7 years, Shane McMahon made his shocking return to WWE and immediately turned everything upside down by threatening to expose Vince's deepest secrets unless he handed over control of Monday Night Raw. To everyone's surprise, Vince agreed to his offer, but there was a catch. If Shane could win the match inside Hell in a Cell, Raw would be his. But if he failed, he would lose everything forever. Instead of backing down, Shane accepted the challenge, and Vince announced that the match would be at the upcoming WrestleMania against The Undertaker. The Undertaker dominated most of the match, but surprisingly, Shane refused to stay down, and both men continued to fight around the ringside until Shane knocked Taker out onto the announcer's table. And right after that, he climbed 20 feet to the top of Hell in a Cell and did something no one expected. At SummerSlam 2025, AJ and Dominic were batting for the United States Championship, but as the match hit its peak, everything turned to chaos. Midway through the match, Dominic grabbed a steel chair, and for a moment it looked like he was ready to use it as a weapon, but instead of attacking AJ like any other wrestler, he slammed the chair on the ground and threw it straight to him. To everyone's surprise, AJ caught the chair perfectly, but then something unexpected happened. Instead of waiting to get hit by AJ, Dom faked the entire impact. The confusion on AJ's face said it all as he got put on the spot right in front of millions. And what happened next is even crazier. To everyone's surprise, he decided to place the chair around his neck and laid down on the mat, trying to sell it like Dominic had viciously attacked him. But when the referee finally turned around, he was left in total shock. Imagine 3 brothers who trusted each other so much that they actually became unbeatable. That was exactly what the Shield was. For 2 solid years, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins didn't just win matches, they destroyed everyone who dared to step on their path. But on June 2nd, 2014, after winning their match against Evolution, everything turned to chaos. That day, Seth Rollins grabbed a steel chair and shocked everyone by smashing Roman Reigns' back in the most vicious way. At first, Dean couldn't believe what just happened, but when Seth also went after him, it was clear that the most dominant faction in WWE history was over. At Breaking Point 2009, Randy Orton stepped into the ring to make Cena say and walk away with the championship. For most of the match, Randy dominated over Cena, hitting him with kendo sticks, slamming steel steps into him, and even handcuffing him into the ring. Randy really tried his best to make him quit. But despite the odds, Cena's answer stayed the same.
No!
But the moment Orton thought it was all over, everything changed. To everyone's surprise, Cena somehow broke free, locked Randy in his own handcuffs, and applied a devastating STF. And with nowhere to run, Randy finally had to scream.
I quit!
When for the first time Brock stepped face to face with Omos, everyone expected Beast to intimidate him like he does with everyone else. But this time, everything went terribly wrong. At first, Omos showed him a warning punch, making it clear he wasn't afraid of him. Later, they both shook hands, but Omos refused to let go, forcing Brock to escape in his way. Surprisingly, Omos didn't back down and effortlessly threw him out of the ring, leaving Brock angry. And 2 weeks later, during a weigh-in, Brock showed up for revenge and immediately started attacking him. This time, he even tried to use Weight Machine as a weapon, but all of a sudden, Omos forced him to run away. Their feud finally exploded at WrestleMania 39 when Omos completely dominated over Brock. But then Brock fought back with multiple suplexes, and when Lesnar attempted his legendary F5, he struggled to lift the giant on his first try. But on his second attempt, Brock shocked everyone by successfully lifting him and delivering the most devastating F5 in WWE history. In the early 2000s, on one of the most iconic episodes of SmackDown, Triple H was complaining about a teaming match with Trish Stratus, who according to him had no solid wrestling skills. While ranting, he accidentally said Stephanie didn't understand wrestling either, which made Stephanie furiously walk away from the locker room. But then all of a sudden Trish Stratus walked in, asking him to show her a few moves so she wouldn't embarrass herself during their match. To everyone's surprise, Triple agreed and showed her the basic of hammerlock and how to counter it. But as he applied the hold from behind, Stephanie found them in the worst position possible. Back in 2006, Randy Orton was already known as a legend killer who made his name by challenging and taking down all WWE's greatest wrestlers. But one night on Saturday night's main event, he decided to focus on the immortal Hulk Hogan. That night, Hulk showed up with his daughter to introduce her to the entire WWE universe, and as the proud father handed her the microphone, something unexpected happened. To everyone's surprise, Randy Orton walked straight to the ring with a single red rose, apologizing for interrupting and explaining that he couldn't pass up the chance to stand next to the Hulk and his gorgeous daughter. The crowd froze for a second as they couldn't believe what just happened, but as Randy gave the rose to Brooke and respectfully asked Hogan for a match at SummerSlam, everything turned to chaos. Surprisingly, not only did Hogan accept the challenge, but on top of that, they shook hands like true professionals. And here's the wild part. Later, when Brooke and Randy were casually talking, suddenly Hulk slapped Randy from behind. Randy immediately apologized, and as Hulk helped his daughter to get into the car, Randy delivered him an RKO. In 2016, Dean Ambrose was named as a special referee for the match between AJ Styles and James Ellsworth. From the moment the match started, Dean completely ignored his referee duties and started answering phone calls exactly when AJ had James tapping out, and when he was supposed to be officiating, Dean was literally posing for pictures with fans at ringside. But the moment that left everyone speechless was when AJ hit Ellsworth with a devastating Styles clash and went for the pin. To everyone's surprise, instead of making the count, Dean grabbed AJ by the shoulders and out of nowhere dropped him with a dirty deeds. And on top of that, Dean dragged Ellsworth's body on top of AJ and counted the fastest 3 in history. This moment proved why WWE won't survive without John Cena, because on Monday Night Raw 2015, Cena noticed something that caught his eye. To everyone's surprise, it was a young fan holding a sign saying, "I'm beating cancer." And what Cena did next took things to a whole new level of insanity. In the middle of his argument with Kevin Owens, John pointed directly at the kid and he encouraged everyone to never give up exactly like this kid. But that's not even the best thing. Right after the show, Cena didn't just go backstage like every other wrestler. Instead, he walked straight to the ringside, found that brave kid, placed his championship on his shoulder, and created a memory that will last forever. Did you know that Brock Lesnar almost lost his life on live TV? It all happened in 2003 when Brock Lesnar stepped into the ring to face Kurt Angle for WWE Championship. For over 20 minutes, these two had been beating the hell out of each other in what many called a wrestling masterpiece. But by the end of the match, something unexpected happened. To everyone's surprise, Brock climbed to the top of the ring rope and decided to pull off a legendary shooting star press. For a moment, everything looked perfectly fine as Brock launched himself backwards through the air. But instead of landing on Kurt, Brock miscalculated and as a result landed directly on his neck. The crowd froze for a second as they didn't know what just happened. But when everyone thought it's all over, Brock recovered and won the match. This security guard made a terrible mistake when he decided to pull away this female wrestler, because after beating her opponent in just 30 seconds, she decided to go straight to the ringside to give her husband a victory kiss. But the moment he pulled her away, he quickly found out why he shouldn't have done that. At Royal Rumble 2010, the Great Khali was absolutely dominating the match, tossing other competitors around like they were nothing. But everything changed when Beth Phoenix made her entrance as the third participant in the match. The moment she stepped into the ring, Khali immediately went after her. But to everyone's surprise, Beth had other plans. As Khali grabbed her and politely said, she did something no one expected. Instead of giving up like any other wrestler, she delivered him an unexpected kiss to pull him out of the ring. At WrestleMania 13, Stone Cold stepped into the ring to face Bret Hart, being completely unaware unaware that he was about to create the moment that would change wrestling forever. For most of the match, both superstars were beating the hell out of each other, but then Bret started fighting back with devastating technical moves that pushed him closer and closer to his breaking point. The crowd expected Stone Cold to tap out, but instead he shocked everyone by gritting his teeth and shaking his head to say no to the referee. This wrestler thought messing with Goldberg's son was a joke, until reality proved him terribly wrong. Let me explain. In 2021, Bobby Lashley was absolutely unstoppable as WWE champion, but one night on Monday Night Raw, Goldberg decided to return to WWE and stepped face-to-face with Bobby, demanding a title match for his WWE championship. At first, Bobby refused to accept the challenge, but after Goldberg speared MVP right in front of him, Lashley had no choice but to take the fight at SummerSlam. At first, Goldberg was absolutely dominating, but everything changed when Bobby found his weak spot and started viciously attacking his knee over and over, forcing the referee to stop the match. And as the match ended, something unexpected happened. To everyone's surprise, Bobby grabbed a steel chair and continued attacking his leg, and that's when Goldberg's son surprised everyone by attacking Bobby from behind, forcing him to lock in the devastating Hurt Lock. When Goldberg heard what happened, he immediately crawled to his son, yelling at Bobby that he would destroy him for what he just done. When they finally met again at Crown Jewel, you could see in Goldberg's eyes that this match wasn't about titles anymore. And the moment the bell rang, Goldberg unleashed fury that left Bobby speechless. In 2002, John Cena confidently stepped into the ring to face 400-pound Rikishi, being completely unaware that he was about to make the dumbest decision of his entire career. Midway through the match, Rikishi bent over right in front of Cena, and for some reason, our childhood hero thought it would be a brilliant idea to do something no one expected. Without any hesitation, Cena threw the hardest punch he could directly at Rikishi's landing zone. The crowd froze for a second as they didn't know what just happened, but the second his fist connected with what felt like a brick wall, Cena's face immediately dropped. In June 2002, Stone Cold Steve Austin was scheduled to face Brock Lesnar in a King of the Ring qualifying match on Monday Night Raw. But when Jim Ross called Steve and told him he was supposed to lose to Lesnar that night, everything turned to chaos. At first, Steve refused to do it and told him that he wasn't going to waste such a big match without any proper build-up. But unfortunately, the executives didn't listen, leaving Stone Cold with only one right choice. Instead of showing up on Raw like any other wrestler, he didn't show up. Have you ever wondered why Batista said,
I think I'm tired of my best friend stabbing me in the back?
Let me explain. For years, Batista and Rey were inseparable. They fought side by side, celebrated victories together, and built a friendship that seemed absolutely unbreakable. But one night at Bragging Rights 2009, everything changed as they faced Undertaker and CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. Midway through the match, Batista hit a devastating Batista bomb on the Undertaker and was about to become the new heavyweight champion. But as the referee started counting for 3, everything turned to chaos. Not only did Rey break his pin, but on top of that, Undertaker delivered him a devastating tombstone piledriver, costing him the championship he deserved. And here's the wild part. After the Undertaker left with his title, a commentator stepped into the ring to interview them. Rey tried to explain that they both gave 100% in the match, admitting they had a little beef during it, and quickly apologized Batista for that. But when the commentator turned to Batista and asked how he felt, he immediately looked at Rey and said that he was the only one close enough to winning that championship. And seconds later, he unleashed fury that left Rey speechless. Have you ever wondered why Cody Rhodes told The Rock,
Go yourself!
and triggered the most shocking betrayal in history? It all started on SmackDown 2025 when Rock returned to WWE with a proposition for Cody. He told him he could make all his dreams come true, but there was one catch. He wanted Cody's soul in exchange. But to everyone's surprise, Cody wasn't buying it and refused to give The Rock what he wanted. And that's when Rock told him to give him his final answer at Elimination Chamber. When that day finally came, the entire crowd was holding their breath as Cody looked dead in The Rock's eyes and said something no one expected.
Go yourself!
And what happened next is even crazier. As Cena came to congratulate him, The Rock gave him a signal to attack and Cena turned heel. Did you know that Stone Cold Steve Austin once got arrested on live TV? It all started back in 2000 when Stone Cold was desperately trying to figure out who ran him over with a car at Survivor Series. For months, nobody knew who was behind the attack. But one night, everything changed when Rikishi finally admitted that he was the one who tried to mess with him. And as a result, at No Mercy, Stone Cold stepped into the ring for a no-holds-barred match. From the very beginning, Austin unleashed pure hell on Rikishi. The match was so intense that Rikishi's face was immediately covered in blood, but Austin wasn't done yet. To everyone's surprise, Austin put Rikishi in the back of his truck and drove straight out of the arena. The crowd froze for a second as they didn't know what just happened, but when they reached the parking lot, something unexpected happened. Surprisingly, Stone dragged Rikishi to a rock wall and backed up his truck, ready to finish what he started. But at the last second, a police car got in the way to save Rikishi. And without any hesitation, Austin rammed the police car not once, but twice, and seconds later, an entire fleet of squad cars appeared to arrest him. Back in Attitude Attitude Era, Vince McMahon was obsessed with getting revenge on anyone who dared to mess with him. Unfortunately, one of them was Trish Stratus, who shocked the entire world by slapping him at WrestleMania. For months, Vince patiently waited for the perfect moment to get his payback. And when that moment finally came on SmackDown, Vince decided to stand in the middle of the ring with a sick smile on his face and announced that Trish Stratus would become the next member of his club. The crowd froze for a second as Vince wanted her to apologize in the most humiliating way. But just when Vince thought he would finally get his revenge, something unexpected happened. Surprisingly, Rock stormed straight to the ring and immediately told Vince to leave her alone. And when Vince refused to do that, he humiliated him. As Hulk Hogan became undisputed champion in 2002, he thought he could get away with anything and decided to mess with the wrong guy. And one night on Monday Night Raw, The Undertaker walked to the parking lot ready to leave. But when he got there, something was wrong. To everyone's surprise, his priced bike was gone, and as soon as he spotted security guard, he immediately turned to him and asked,
"Where is my bike?"
The guard nervously replied,
"He took it." Who? Hulk Hogan!
But by that time, it was already too late, and Hogan had already made his entrance on Undertaker's motorcycle. The crowd went absolutely crazy as Hogan stood in the middle of the ring, daring him to step inside and do something about it. He even tried to chase Undertaker around using his motorcycle, and on top of that, he grabbed a truck and ran over his expensive bike. And here's the wild part. For a week, everyone thought Hogan got away with it. But on the following Monday Night Raw, something unexpected happened. When Hogan was leaving the building, Undertaker attacked him from behind. Surprisingly, Taker tied Hogan to the back of Hogan's own motorcycle, and without any hesitation, he started dragging him through the entire backstage area. On Monday Night Raw 2025, a battle royal took place where dozens of wrestlers were fighting for a chance to face CM Punk for the World Title Championship. From the very beginning, the match was full of excitement with Jey Uso coming close to elimination multiple times, but every single time his brother Jimmy would rush to save him. For most of the match, they were working as the perfect team, until in the middle of it, something unexpected happened. As Jimmy was battling another wrestler near the edge of the ring, Jey walked straight toward them, and instead of helping his brother like he'd done his entire career, he pushed both of them over the top rope. The crowd froze for a second as they didn't know what just happened, but the fury on Jimmy's face said it all as he got betrayed right in front of millions. And what happened next is even crazier. Not only did Jey completely ignore his brother furiously screaming at him in the ringside, but on top of that, he climbed straight to the top of turnbuckle and started doing his signature move like nothing happened. On SmackDown 2017, Randy Orton was having an intense match against AJ Styles when suddenly something unexpected happened. Midway through the match, AJ climbed to the top of the rope, and for a moment it looked like he was ready to jump, but to everyone's surprise, he completely faked it, pranking Randy, who was already braced for impact. The confusion on Randy's face said it all as the entire crowd erupted, but what AJ didn't know was that the Viper is always sordid, and as he finally jumped from the top of the ring, he RKO'd him. On Monday Night Raw 2005, Chris Jericho was scheduled for a match against the referee Chad Patton, with Eric Bischoff as the special guest referee. From the very beginning, Jericho made it clear this wasn't going to be a fair fight, and without any hesitation, he started beating the referee down without mercy. And here's the wild part. After completely overwhelming him for 2 solid minutes, he threw him straight out of the ring. But when everyone thought it was all over, something unexpected happened. Surprisingly, Carlito was waiting at ringside and immediately joined Jericho in attacking the helpless referee. But just when it seemed like nobody could save him, all of a sudden, John Cena's music hit, and the crowd exploded as Cena ran straight to the ring to save him. On Monday Night Raw 2009, Kofi Kingston interfered in Randy's match, costing him WWE Championship. After that loss, not only Randy blamed him for losing the championship, but also he started making his life a living hell inside and outside the ring. But one night, Kofi finally had enough and decided to do something no one expected. That night, instead of stepping into the ring like any other wrestler, Kofi appeared on the Titantron saying that Randy lost and he should just accept that. Those words immediately enraged Randy, who furiously said something no one expected.
Who do you think you are? Come down to this ring! Say it to my face, Kofi!
And right after those words, he said that Randy chose his words perfectly, because he's actually standing right on top of his custom car and immediately started destroying it. But when Kofi thought it was all over, something unexpected happened. Surprisingly, Randy destroyed him in their upcoming match. Which moment do you like the most? Let me know down below, and I'll see you next time.